dear viewers, and welcome to a new edition of our program Africa Today. In today's edition, we are going to shed light about the African-Russian ties. But first, we'll start with this report where the Egyptian naval vessels and units are taking part in the Egyptian-Russian drills. They departed from Alexandria to in the formation on their way to the Black Sea. More about the drills in the following story.
A number of Egyptian naval vessels participating in the Egyptian-Russian maritime drill dubbed Friendship Bridge 3 have crossed the Dardanelles and the Bosporus Straits on their way to the Black Sea. The Egyptian armed forces made the statement, adding that the naval vessels and units participating in the drill departed from Alexandria Naval Base in formation on their way to the Black Sea. The statement said this is the first time the Friendship Bridge drills are being held with Russia in the Black Sea. It said the exercise aims to enhance military cooperation and contribute to efforts to achieve security and stability in the Middle East region. The Army said the Joint Maritime Drill Friendship Bridge 3 is one of the most important joint exercises to transfer and exchange experiences between the armed forces of both countries.
And to shed more light on the African-Russian ties, we are very much delighted to have with us over the phone Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Ambassador Bayoumi, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, how are you?
How are you, sir? Ambassador Bayoumi, how do you see the level of the African-Russian ties?
As a matter of fact, we are talking here about Egypt and Russia.
Yeah.
Russia and the Soviet Union and the Eastern bloc of Europe were our main trade partners during the 60s up till early the 70s. And we have, at that time, starting from mid-70s, very good relation with EU and the Western Europe.
Yes.
So the situation with this very important market, I mean the old Soviet Union and Eastern Europe was a little bit deteriorated. Also, they were standing against the Sadat peace initiative. And at the end of the 90s, they lost their policies, they lost their countries, and the collapse of the Soviet Union and the communist part of the world became a fact.
Yes.
So now we are trying to restore this market because it was a traditional market for our exports, traditional market for many of our commodities. Also, it was a source for many of our needs and imports. This is what we are doing exactly now. And why to lose a very important market like that?
Yes.
And thank God that they came towards us, not the contrary.
Yes.
I mean that all those who disagree with the Egyptian foreign policy, after 10 or 20 years, they understand their mistakes. And now all of us, we are maintaining and adopting the same policies for peace, development, and stability of our area and the other areas. This is the situation now, and I hope it's going better and better for the sake of all the people of Russia and all the people in Egypt and the Arab world also.
Yes, indeed. Sir, Russia actually has decided to build a military base and repair yard in Sudan and is participating in a joint drill with Egypt in the Black Sea. How do you see the importance of these cooperation moves between both Egypt and Russia on the military level and its interest in doing that in Sudan as well?
It's not strange of our policy because also Russia was one of our main sources of our army needs. And why not to come back? Because lately we started some purchase from the industry of arms in Russia. Now we are coordinating our policies in the Red Sea, because it is the entrance for our Suez Canal. Also in the East Mediterranean, Russia has a presence in Syria. So it is a good idea in order to coordinate with such a huge partner like Russia.
Indeed.
And I think that we are coming nearer and nearer to each other in order to maintain peace, stability in the area.
Yes. Ambassador Bayoumi, how do you see the timing of these drills and its importance for both countries, Egypt and Russia as well?
It's coming in a good time or a bad time, as a matter of fact. We have to face a lot of problems in our area.
Indeed.
There are some threats to the peace and stability in the east part of the Mediterranean.
Yes.
What's happening in Syria or Libya, what's happening in Iraq and
Yes.
Yemen. All of these things are subjects which need more and more coordination between Egypt and Russia.
Yes.
So the timing is almost very necessary, not only important,
Yes.
to face all these problems.
Indeed. Ambassador Bayoumi, on a larger scale, why Russia, from your point of view, is strengthening its presence in the African continent in general and its relations with Egypt in particular?
Russia has a very small presence in Africa, as a matter of fact, up till now. And the idea is to use the Egyptian presence, which is very acceptable and very wide. We are the most acceptable face in
Yes.
Africa at large. So we are trying to convince all our partners to invest in Africa with the Egyptian experience and with foreign direct investment. We attracted Europe to accept this principle. We attracted China also to do the same. Tokyo invited our president for the TICAD conference last year, and saying that this sort of policy from Egypt is going to be more and more acceptable. So let us establish also
Yes.
a sort of cooperation between Egypt and Russia in Africa.
Yes. Ambassador Bayoumi, how do you see Russia as a partner with the African continent, the African countries? Of course, we have to admit here that Africa is somehow a continent very rich in natural resources. It has a very good potential for raw material, for investment, for trade, for better economy, better trade exchange. So how do you see here the relationship?
Russia has a good history concerning helping the developing countries.
Yeah.
But this situation, it was a little bit diminished. And now we are encouraging Russia to come forward in order to invest in the developing countries. And Egypt has a very good experience to lead such sort of cooperation.
Indeed. Ambassador Bayoumi, how can both Africa and Russia benefit from each other's resources?
Of course, any such cooperation, it will end with many results concerning direct investment, creating jobs, exports will be benefiting. So both parties will be benefiting from such cooperation, and we are sure that it is very good for the health of the economy on both sides.
Yes. Actually, sir, the first African-Russian forum was hosted in Sochi, Russia in the year 2019. How have ties developed hands after that forum?
It's very good to have these occasions. We have also hosted in Cairo the EU-African conference. It was at the level of the summit, and 68 head of states were there in the conference in Cairo. We have this between the Arab countries and Africa. We have with China. So Russia is also a good candidate in order to continue this policy, because the room is enough for everybody to give a hand for such a sort of cooperation where everybody can benefit from it.
Indeed. Ambassador Bayoumi, how do you see the future here of the African-Russian cooperation?
I hope it takes place and to create a sort of successful project, because we are still in the very beginning. I must be honest here.
Yes.
We are still in the very beginning, and Africa the African countries has a lot of duties to be done in order to attract more trade and more investment.
So
We still have
how can we
problems.
conquer these challenges, Ambassador Bayoumi?
We still have problems concerning transport. Maritime transport is limited.
Yes.
Airway traffic is not covering every city in the continent.
Yes.
Also, road, we are dreaming about a road from Alexandria to Johannesburg. And we are doing this. Also, we have to ameliorate and improve our banking system. It's not up to the level of the international banking level. Many things we have to do. Also, the problem in the developing countries is the bureaucracy, which is making the business very slow. All these things are challenges we have to face, and we have to maintain the courage to take good decisions in order to make the situation much better.
Yes. Finally, Ambassador Bayoumi, how do you see the level here of the foreign direct investment in Africa at the moment?
Very bad. I must be frank to you. It's still not good.
Yes, indeed.
The flow of money from Africa to the rich countries and the developed countries
Yes.
is much less than the money going to Africa, although Africa is the poorest continent. So that is the point Egypt is trying to defend and is trying to change. We are still have a lot to do in order to change this situation.
Indeed. Ambassador Gabriel Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister, thank you very much, sir, for your very precious input. Always a pleasure to have you, sir, with us. And moving on to mask vending machines, which will be installed inside the metro stations in Egypt as part of the coronavirus precautionary measures. Those who do not wear a face mask face a fine of at least 4,000 Egyptian pounds. More details.
Face masks in order to curb the spread of the coronavirus. Cairo Metro Company spokesperson Ahmad Abdelhadi made the announcement on Tuesday. Abdelhadi said that mask vending machines will be installed inside stations and that those who do not wear a mask inside metro stations face a fine of at least 4,000 Egyptian pounds. The decision comes weeks after authorities urged stricter enforcement of regulations, making face masks obligatory in public spaces and on modes of transportation. The order comes amid a surge in coronavirus cases in Egypt. Face masks were made mandatory in Egypt on the 30th of May, with violators facing hefty fines in a move aimed at curbing the spread of the virus in the populous country. Egypt has officially registered 111,009 cases of coronavirus, including 6,465 fatalities and 101,179 full recoveries.
In Egypt, monuments are being restored near the 15th century mosque of Sultan Qaitbay in the east of the capital Cairo, bringing the city of the dead back to life. Samah Sharif reports.
In Egypt's City of the Dead, centuries-old monuments are being restored and artisanal heritage revived, turning a corner of the vast historical cemetery into a vibrant neighborhood full of life. Wood, leather and jewelry workshops have joined those of glass blowers and others near the 15th century Mosque of Sultan Qaitbay in the east of the capital, Cairo. From the Mamluk period, the celebrated structure, featured on Egypt's £1 notes, is surrounded by monumental tombs, dusty alleys and informal housing. Since 2014, a series of projects financed by the European Union has changed the face of this small section of the sprawling necropolis, home to many people who are unable to afford Cairo's prohibitively high rents. Authorities began construction on a major road in July, a short distance from the Qaitbay Mosque on the area. A final resting place for illustrious figures, including singer Farid al-Atrash and writer Ihsan Abdul Quddus, as well as ordinary Egyptians. The Islamic necropolis, founded in the 7th century, stretches over 6.5 kilometers. Products made in the impoverished neighborhood are now sold in elegant booths under restored stone arches and even online. The City of the Dead is sometimes an object of superstition due to its status as a necropolis and is not a usual stop on mainstream Cairo tours.
Well, with that, our dear viewers, we come to the end of our program for today. Thank you for watching.